Hello everyone, welcome into the review of the Laois Antrim game from the weekend. The finished Laois 120, Antrim 119, and in a game which ultimately sealed Laois's their safety in Division 1 for this year. I think, look, going into the lead up to this game, not many people are giving Laois a chance. Look at the previous Antrim performances, they nearly overturned the Dubs. And then, look, last week they were a Neil McManus penalty away from equalising against Waterford as well. So I think coming into it, Antrim tails would have been really high for Antrim as well. And like Laois, they've faced some very very difficult games in previous weeks. They've been hammered by Waterford in particular and Kilkenny. So yeah, look, I think coming into it, it was probably a bit of a surprise based on the form book. But this, look, I don't think you can be too surprised considering the kind of the hold that Laois have had over Antrim in recent years, where it was just that when the games have come down that have mattered, Laois have just seemed to be able to up their game more so than Antrim and get kind of more fired up for these games and now ultimately have enough to beat them every time. Same thing happened last year in the Championship relegation playoff. That's the reason why Laois will be playing with the big dogs this year, and whereas Antrim will be down Joe McDonough. So it's just that I think that we're all very kind of positive about Antrim, that they put up to the big teams as well, but it does have to be said that they're going to have to work this out, that this is twice now that games that have really, really mattered, that they've needed to grind out a result here, and just like there's no point putting in all these positive results against big teams, running them so close and just coming up just short, that when you come and face teams that you would consider yourself to be on an equal level or if not slightly better, that you can't get the result in the day. So yeah, I think from an Antrim perspective they have to be very, very disappointed with how that went. And yeah, look, they're gonna have to face an Offaly team probably, I'd say, to stay up in it as well, based off their performances throughout the league. I think, look, they should be confident going into it. They seem to be that they are ahead of Offaly at the moment as well. But look, that'll be an important game because they're probably going to be two teams that'll have a good chance of getting promoted from Joe McDonough later in the year. So yeah, look, it just remains to be seen that if Antrim can't get over the line against that Offaly in the game, they definitely gonna have. They definitely seems like they have a problem with these big games because they perform. The same thing happened last year where they performed so well throughout the entire league, and then when it came to Championship, they just didn't bring the same level. So look, that's the thing that Antrim are going to have to focus on, and yeah, look, so that's the problem for them as well. So just briefly going into the game as well, the other thing that Antrim will be disappointed about is that they played with an extra man for about 50 minutes that game. Jack Kelly got a red card straight away. Look, I think Daniel Carney, the cornerback from Antrim, was probably fortunate to not go as well, but I don't think Jack Kelly can be too angry or aggrieved, I suppose, about the red card. There was definitely a strike. Maybe Daniel Carney threw a strike as well too. So yeah, look, I think Laois were slightly unlucky to be the only team punished in that scenario, but they played fantastic after that as well. Like, Peaky Maher hit some really, really big scores. They played really, really well with 14. Their forwards were able to still win ball. Like, Willie Dunphy was up there, Chad Dwyer was up there as well, and they were still more than capable of winning their own ball up there and playing really, really well. So yeah, I think, look, this was definitely, it was a really, really exciting game. My game of the weekend, I think, here as well. Having watched all the, like, suppose the kind of top teams playing Division 1, I thought this was just the most exciting and best game, the best fare that was available. Like, the Paddy Purcell goal was sensational. Took a return hand pass and buried it to the top corner, and that set Laois in motion. And I think it was important that they scored that goal early on because, look, confidence must have been low in the camp, and that goal kind of kept them in front and gave them something to hang on to here, even with the red card that soon came after as well. Then look at the end, they finished so strongly after kind of going level. The score Chad Dwyer hit to win it, I suppose, in the end was absolutely sublime. So yeah, really, really exciting game. And look, Laois they'll be thrilled with this, that when it came down to it, when it really, really mattered, they dug in deep, that all the results previously hadn't gone their way. They'd been humiliated. They'd been given no chance going into this game. And then throw in as well, look, the fact that they lost one of their star players to a red card after 20 minutes. The character they showed was absolutely huge. So yeah, really, really good. Chad Dwyer, I think, my man of the match as well. Sean Downey, fullback, really, really good. Like, in Dermot Conway, they were one of the top cornerbacks in the province there. And look, so they're just absolutely that they must be absolutely delighted with that, because when it's required them, they're always seem to be able to come up trumps. We look as well in the last couple of years in the Championship, they've been very, very close to pulling some big upsets, and for a county their size and their resources, another year in Division 1, they'll be thrilled with that. And look, I suppose going into it, the last game of the season, I think it's just the hope is that they can kind of continue this form and this momentum and go into Championship and just be a bit more competitive against the likes of Kilkenny's and maybe the Dublins and stuff like that as well as the year goes on. As the year goes on and they go into Championship, because they don't want to be facing a similar situation to what happened with them with Waterford and everything as well. I would just briefly say as well that they do have the luxury of knowing that Westmeath will be in the group with them in Leinster. There'll be 6 teams in Leinster this year as well. And look, I think based on the experience they've got from Division 1 playing the top teams, I think they'll absolutely back themselves against Westmeath in that anyway as well. So anyway, that's our review of Laois versus Antrim as well. Huge win for Laois. And look, unfortunately for Antrim, despite all their previous great forms throughout the year, they just couldn't get the results here to guarantee their safety in Division 1 for another year. And they'll be facing pressure against that relegation game against what will most likely be Offaly.